once again to ruin your goddamn day. Hell yeah. Alright, son. Sit down, because we're going to be tackling a pretty heavy topic today. Today, we're going to be talking about child marriage. Now, when I say that, you're probably thinking, oh, she's going to be talking about, matzo balls? She's gonna be talking about matzo balls? What are the guys' names that beat their wives mercilessly? You're probably thinking about something overseas, something you ain't gotta be concerned about. No. We're gonna be talking about America, something that's happening right in your own backyard and you don't even fucking know about it. 'Cause fun fact, child marriage is legal in every state but Delaware. Yep, I don't know if you're aware because I sure wasn't until just a few days ago, but Delaware is the only state in America where you need to be at least 18 to get married. Apparently, there are little loopholes and exceptions in the laws of every other state that allow thousands of adults to marry children and teenagers every year. Now, you may be saying, you got fake facts here, that can't possibly be true. And your skepticism is justifiable, but, though nearly every state has laws barring children under 18 from marrying, there are ways to get exemptions. For example, by asking for judicial consent or presenting parents' permission. As of now, Delaware is the only state that bans child marriage altogether, with no exceptions. Generally, children cannot initiate legal action in their own name. In many states, this also means a child is allowed to marry, but not allowed to divorce.
NANI?
Just great to think about the fact that any day now, my parents could die, I get adopted by some wacko foster parents, and bam! I'm married to a fucking 32-year-old man. Just like that. And then I would be stuck in that marriage for at least the next 5 years, which is that's also just amazing. Wonderful. And you know what else is great? Most of these marriages involving minors are between a teenage girl and an adult man, which is just fun to think about. When it comes to child marriage laws, the U.S. is comparable to countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen. Some other people may be saying,
well, it's probably not that many children being married to adults in this fine country of America.
but unfortunately, you're wrong again, idiot. Actually, it's not funny. This is really fucked up. In a survey of marriage licenses compiled by Unchained at Last, at least 160,000 children under 18 were married in the U.S. between 2000 and 2010. The number is likely on the conservative side, as Unchained at Last could obtain age data from only 38 U.S. states. Furthermore, some of the most shocking numbers occur in states such as New Jersey, where 4,000 children were married between 1995 and 2012, 163 of which were between 10 and 15 years old. In Virginia, nearly 4,500 people under the age of 18 were married between 2004 and 2013. Nearly 90% of those marriages involved an adult spouse. No, I'm doing just fine over here. It's probably not that big of a deal. I mean, what are you gonna do about it? I mean, what's wrong with it? Age is just a number. Don't even need to be worrying about anything. I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's just fine. We should leave it alone. We shouldn't be talking about this. This is not even an issue. It's a non-issue. It doesn't even matter.
So, from what I've read and researched, to get a kid married off, the parents need to consent and a judge has to give the okay. But what the child thinks doesn't really come into play. You see, usually these marriages are arranged by the parents, religious parents. And while the marriage is being set up by the parents and a judge, the child often chooses not to speak up if they object, because they know if they keep the marriage from happening, they will be shunned by their family and community. So, most of these child marriages are also forced marriages, which is where things really start to get fucked up. There's tons of stories all over the internet from survivors of marriages they were coerced into as minors. These stories are often full of abuse from the adult husband towards the underage spouse, where the girl can't get help again because of how our laws work. Helping children in forced marriages is murky territory for activists and social workers. A child who leaves home under the age of 18 is considered a runaway, meaning that social service organizations and shelters could face legal action for helping them. On top of that, many of the resources that are available to adults in abusive marriages aren't available to married minors. In the United States, a person cannot just remove the child from the situation. That could be considered kidnapping, punishable by up to life in prison. Child Protection Services also typically declines to get involved before a child is married, and after the marriage, they may no longer even have the authority to get involved. Child Protection Services, this is Liz. Wait, so you want me to save you from your marriage with a creepy old man, even though it hasn't even happened yet? Yeah, okay. Call me back when you're actually married.
2 weeks later.
Oh, you actually called me back. Okay, let me see if I can actually help you now. Oh, wait. It says here in your file that, I'm not allowed to help you anymore. Oh, well. I mean, look at the bright side. The beatings, will build your character, and I'm sure your cooking skills will improve because, when your husband is flipping tables and,
throwing objects at you, that's an awful lot of motivation to improve your skills.
So, it's not that bad. As I alluded to before, religion is an important factor that comes into play here. Most of the survivors of these forced child marriages come from tight religious circles. Who would have thought religion would be behind such a horrible thing? I'm just kidding. It makes a ton of fucking sense. When you look at the list of countries where child marriage is most common, at the top of the list are the heavily Islamic countries of Chad, Niger, Bangladesh, and Guinea. The Jewish halakha sets the minimum age for marriage at 13 for boys and 12 for girls. Catholic canon law allows marriage at 16 for boys and 14 for girls. So yeah, you could say that a common religious value is sexualizing your daughter as early on as possible, probably in an effort to tie her down to the kitchen and get her cooking before she learns too much in school. Yeah, because when they're married, it makes it that much easier for adult men to rape little girls. In these tight little religious circles, the girl would never be able to tell authorities or get out of the marriage until she's at least 18. Even then, if she divorced her husband, she'd be banned from her community forever. And y'all like to make fun of the Japanese for liking hentai. Look, Japanese people may jerk off to little girls. You got them there, but at least they don't fuck and then marry them. Gotta draw the line somewhere. Now you must be asking yourself, well, what's being done to stop this? Quite a lot, actually, by an organization called Unchained at Last. But their efforts and proposals have actually been turned down by several states, which is just... How? What? For example, Chris Christie vetoed a bill that would have banned marriage for teens under 18 in the state of New Jersey for the reason of an exclusion without exceptions would violate the cultures and traditions of some communities in New Jersey based on religious traditions. What the hell are you talking about, you fucking kook? You're just gonna let people marry and rape minors just because it's a tradition for them. Yeah, that makes sense, big brains. After Chris Christie left office, though, the bill quickly progressed in New Jersey again, which is great. But since everybody wants to maintain their right to marry 12-year-old girls, the progress on the bill was obliterated completely again. Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin pulled A865, the bill to raise the marriage age to 18 without exceptions, from the Assembly agenda on May 24th, 2018, just minutes before the Assembly session. So, why did he pull it from the agenda all of a sudden? Well, Gary Shayer, Deputy Speaker of the Assembly, who also, of course, has to be an Orthodox Jew, suddenly convinced him that passing the bill would be a bad thing. You're making it really hard for me right now. I'm trying to avoid making this too much of a religious thing. I'm trying to avoid landing that LT Corpus exposed as an anti-Semitic Poltard article really hard right now. But god damn it, man. What the fuck? I smell a trend here. Anyways, Gary Shayer suddenly convinced Coughlin that putting an end to loopholes in our law that allow thousands of children to be bound to an adult spouse against their will might offend the Orthodox Jewish community living in New Jersey. I mean, yeah, it might have, but whose feelings should you prioritize? The feelings of old Jewish men that want to fondle little girls, or the feelings of little girls that don't want to be fondled by old Jewish men? That's a hard decision. I don't know, I can't decide.
Look, the Muslims, Christians, and Jews all have sacred traditions. Among them are treating women like dogs, killing gay people, and mutilating babies' cocks, sucking them, and subsequently sometimes giving them herpes. Now, one very, very important tradition that all three of them share is forcing children into marriages with spouses that are 20 years older than them. And putting a floor on the age of marriage would just completely obliterate that. I just can't see myself impeding on a practice that is so integral to so many Americans' lives. Sorry, but if their ancient book tells them so, you gotta let them fuck kids.
New Jersey isn't the only place people are trying to make a change, though. Unchained has helped to write, introduce, and promote legislation in some 24 U.S. states to eliminate this human rights abuse, but so far only one state has ended all child marriage, Delaware, which did so in May 2018. You hear that? 24 states. Unchained at last, various activists and others are making politicians and legislators in plenty of states aware of the flaws in our legislature. Yet, even when presented with the heinous statistics, the bill is still not being passed due to trivial reasons that are not worth the amount of children that are stuck in violent and emotionally destructive marriages with absolutely no way out. It doesn't make any sense. We're truly living in goddamn clown world right now. I want to swan dive out of a fucking window. Don't let this religious, parental, and political mischief keep going on, my fellow Americans, because this time it's happening right in your own fucking backyard. This is your lieutenant,